Greetings and welcome to this week's episode of the Pixel Crashers podcast. A podcast where we ramble on incoherently for about 90 minutes to 2 hours. You know, actually we are rambling incoherently before we're even on camera. So it's not really like we're only doing it on the stream. We're pretty much doing it for the whole morning. I am Angelus de Mortiel, the chief incoherent rambler. Then we also have Kevin Xaiphen, who is also actually everybody's a chief. I wouldn't go that far. Kevin Xaiphen's here, our resident, even though he's really the platform moderate. I call him the console peasant because that's the way society is. You can't actually be a moderate. So if you are not in the one extreme, then you are by default the other extreme. That's and we had that conversation this morning with someone who's like, "I see what you're doing there, Kev. Trying to throw some shade." I'm like, I know.
He told me I think this month he's building his PC. He told me he was waiting for the graphics prices to go down because apparently he has everything else, and then he's looking at a 1060. Yeah. So he'll join us.
1080s are below MSRP at the moment.
I wish I had money for another 1080 because I would slap it in here from my 1080 SLI. Then I'd get true 4K.
Yeah. Good luck.
Well, no, actually, I'm doing pretty good now. I'm playing most games at 4K, 60 FPS high settings. And then there's Ubisoft. Ubisoft games are the ones that are giving me the most trouble. I can play the fucking Witcher 3 at 4K. But Far Cry 5 gave me so much trouble. I can't play Assassin's Creed Origins at 60 frames a second. No matter what I do, it just stutters like a bitch when you go over 30.
That's funny.
So I'm playing at high settings, 4K 30. On Assassin's Creed Origins.
Are you running G-Sync?
No.
Okay.
My 4K display has FreeSync on it. My 1440 has G-Sync on it.
Have you tried to test that G-Sync on those more intense games to see if that helps out your stutter?
Yeah. I had this G-Sync monitor for over a year. That was my main display before I got the 4K.
Oh yeah, that's right.
By the way, before we start rambling too far on, Xaiphen is also here. Also another chief incoherent rambler. We start like like comically just like going off on tangents even before I finish introducing everybody. Yeah. So it's been a while. I think we missed our last. How many podcasts? I don't even remember when we do podcasts.
I don't know. I'm just waiting to you.
On this day, 26 years ago.
Who was born?
I don't know where I was going with that.
Your mom met your dad on this day 26 years ago. You were born 6 months later.
I don't really make plans with what I start talking about.
I'm 26. I don't know what happened. Anyway, so games and stuff. I know. So let's just get it out of the way first, so that way we can continue to make jokes about it through the rest of the podcast. But I can say that we're not going to be doing anything else. I have to get the joke out there. When they announced Fallout 76, my first thought was, "I've got you in my vets." And then that's it. That's you know.
Yeah, I think more really thinks I'm going to be damage controlling for Fallout 76.
I think you are 100%. You are a Fallout fanboy. You are going to be damage controlling every day.
Like I said before, I want to see the reveal. Like I want to see the reveal at E3. I'm more hyped about E3 than I am about Fallout 76. I want to actually see the game. I'm unsure If it's like Fallout 4 meets Elder Scrolls Online, I don't know that I want that. I'm hearing rumors it's like Rust. I definitely don't want that.
Kev, damage control, N7.
I didn't even damage control. In fact, I said I'm not sure yet.
It's too late. It's on the internet, man. You can't take it back now. You are now Kev, damage control, N7. Should change your Twitter name to that now.
I did not damage control for Andromeda, by the way. I let them hold their own L.
No, you damage control for Fallout 4 is what you did. Don't think we forgot. The North remembers.
I still prefer it over Witcher 3. To this day, I do.
Oh. Sorry, I had a little aneurysm there.
I think a lot of people did.
There's... Xaiphen!
I do like that you could fuck old girl on the back of the unicorn. That's the shit. And we're not discussing final thoughts, I hope.
Yeah, we're discussing. Apparently we are. Oh, for fuck's sake. We're ending the podcast now. That's final thoughts, guys. See you later. Good God. I should really get that fixed really quickly. Oof. That's gonna get fixed. While I'm fixing that, Xaiphen, games. Talk about them. Or no, talk about controller stuff.
Controller stuff, yes. There's a couple of exciting things I've discovered recently in controller. One of them, not so much for me, but I'm excited for other people and how much it can help them out. The Microsoft's Xbox Adaptive Controller, which is a very weird looking thing, and you think, if you just glance at it, you think, how the fuck is this a controller? But you actually look into the reviews on it, which ours, I think, Technica was where I saw the video on it, and how it actually can help a lot of people with disabilities get into gaming. Which, you know, as gaming is mostly escapism for problems you deal with in real life, that would be, you know, great help to a lot of those people, because, you know, they run into a lot of issues just dealing with life as is. To help them out with gaming when they wouldn't otherwise be able to, I think is, you know, a great step on Microsoft's part. And of course, none of it is cheap. The adaptive controller itself, it's a hub that you can plug in a lot of specialized controls in, like a switch that you activate by biting down on, foot pedals, other things like that. Any of those one devices can run from, tens of dollars to hundreds of dollars. And then there's the hub itself that all of them can plug into, and you plug in that particular device to a dedicated button that corresponds on the Microsoft controller. So you want an A button, a trigger, or something else like that. I think that the adaptive controller itself is $100, so you can end up spending a hell of a lot of money getting a system working for you. But the thing is you can get a system working for you. They've got a centralized hub instead of having to create a specialized hub for each person, for each set of devices that they have. There is one uniform hub device, and then you've got the specialized switches at that point.
Now, my thoughts on this is, when you said you can spend hundreds of dollars on this, I used to think this was so pro-consumer, and now I'm seeing it just sounds like Microsoft. They're just getting out. They try to get the disabled people's money too. All of it.
Yes and no.
Accessory devices are made by Microsoft, just the hub controller. It's more or less, here's a device that you can connect all your specialized switches into, and it'll automatically, you have a plug fit for the control button that you want it to make. So you've got a foot pedal for a trigger, you've got a byte switch for, the A button or something else like that. You plug it into the port, and it's all 3.5 millimeters, so it's all standardized. You plug it into the port that you want on the controller, and then you have somebody who otherwise cannot pick up, may not even be able to pick up a controller. They can actually play games now. And it's not that they couldn't before, but it simplifies the setup that they're going to need. Because they were always, they always ran into this issue where they were going to have to spend hundreds of dollars into all of these accessories to set up and rigging it all together and all that stuff. But now there's not as much thought into connecting everything together. It's got a centralized device. It's a plug-and-play type setup, and instead of having to get more involved in it like they had to before.
I actually said the same thing when I first saw this. FPS players are going to cry about competitive advantage. They're going to cry more when Halo 6 comes out, and it comes out with crossplay.
Yeah. No, that's
Oh, Halo 6 on
Like I
Halo
suggest
6 on PC with Xbox gonna be lit. Well, if you're on PC.
Yeah, there is going to be people who are crying about it, but you know, you look at it realistically. Look up the video on this thing.
wow, that went sideways.
Advantage.
Yeah, no, that's the thing is that. So you know what this reminds me of though, the Microsoft Adaptive Controller. Have you guys ever read the book Starship Troopers?
No.
Oh yeah, that's right. They had mouth controls for all that.
Right, well, the mouth controls and like when you would lean. So so unlike the movie, the actual mobile infantry actually was they were a mobile armor division, more accurately put, because they were in kind of essentially they were in your typical like mobile armor combat suit. You know, it was like a mechanized infantry suit thing. You know, with guns and stuff. But the way that Robert Heinlein described the controls. Now, keep in mind, this is like almost like coming close to a century ago. He wrote it back in like the 30s or 40s, I think, right?
It was I think Starship Troopers came out in the late 30s. It was after he got out of the war in World War II.
Well, then that would have been the 50s. Sorry, I'm way off. So no, it's more like.
Well, actually, yeah, it was late
40s,
into the 50s when that. Well, he wrote books for several decades. He started when he was still in the Navy.
Yep. But in any case, the way he described the mobile armor that the mobile infantry used, I can't remember what it was called, but it was a very specific name for it. But the point is that like when you moved the arms had little like pressure plates in them that whenever you moved your arm up, it would detect that pressure and it would move the suit's arm up and so on. And then yeah, there was like mouth controls that you would use for like different display things. So you had like different things you could bite inside the helmet that would show like different displays or maybe do different actions or whatever like that. And whenever I hear about this, that's you know, that's what I think of. You know, it's what makes me think of.
I know we digress too much on this podcast already, but I have to, you know, go on an aside on Robert Heinlein. He got so descriptive in some of his technical details in his books. You know, Starship Troopers is actually one of the more minor books when it comes to these. I can't remember what story it is off the top of my head, but you know, he was injured in World War II in the Navy. He was in the hospital bed, and one of the things that was foremost on his mind is how uncomfortable the hospital beds were. And whatever story he was working on at the time, he ended up inadvertently inventing and patenting a waterbed. He had so much detail in his book that later on, when somebody else tried to patent that, because he didn't actually try to patent it, but somebody else tried, another company tried to patent it years later, and they referenced this published book and the amount of detail he had on a waterbed. The patent defaulted to him just because of how much detail he had.
Yeah, well, God damn, you guys are fucking horrible. Kev, you're not helping. So in any case, no, like, well, the thing is too is that now
that was a movie, dude.
Yeah, people. I don't even know if her tits were in that. I thought it was there was another chick that was naked in there, but whatever.
I remember the tits.
Everyone else.
Yeah, whatever the case was, you're like. There wasn't even romance in the book. He went on a date with.
That like the detractor to Heinlein's books applying to the modern era is he was kind of misogynistic. He was very depicting of the military as being all male, or at least combat military being all male, and that sort of thing. He didn't have a lot of female. In a lot of his
it depends. So I wouldn't necessarily say misogynistic, because that would denote that in a modern context that he hated women, right? So that's what misogynistic means, is they hate women, right? I don't think he hated women. I think back in that era, and granted, when we look back on it now, obviously there was a lot of shit wrong with the way that things were done, and that's why they have changed over time. But back in that era, women didn't do certain things that men did. type of thing, and there was a different mindset. So you have to kind of keep historical context to it. But
then women only really had babies and kept them to the house.
Well, especially in the 50s, like when you got 40s and the 50s, that was the kind of like the Stepford kind of dream of like, the man works 9 to 5 and the woman stays home and makes sandwiches, and like that very stereotypical suburban kind of ideal that to be frankly honest was a little weird, that I always saw. But still, you have like as far back as that's why it wasn't necessarily misogynistic. It was just a limited viewpoint.
What do you mean what do you mean because she has a vagina she can't uphold it and be a contributing member to society?
Well, and the thing is that like it. Well, at the same time, like women weren't in combat roles type of thing, and all of the mobile infantry was all male in the book. There was still like they were like, but women still have a very place where they excel. Like scientifically, they had found that women were on average better pilots than men, and so the majority of the ship pilots were women in that book. So it wasn't that they had zero place in combat. It was that, and this is again based upon
my reference to misogyny was not that book in particular. It was actually a little bit more on Stranger in a Strange Land. If you read on that one, that one is not, it's misogynistic even for the era. More or less, women are supposed to be playthings for men, and then that's it.
Yes.
Not even specialized gender roles like women must be nurses or that sort of thing. It wasn't even that far.
Well, the thing is
they were literally just holes. Great.
Yeah.
That's,
and the thing is his viewpoints did change over the years, because he's, a lot of his, you look at his series of books, his collection, the things did change over the years. There's some people that really hate the author as a whole, everything he's ever written, just because of certain particular points of view in certain books. But if you actually read his earliest works versus his latest works, he's had a definitive opinion change on a lot of things throughout his life.
Well, even in the context of Starship Troopers, like the idea that a person has to earn their citizenship through service, either through civil service or military service, that was in itself pretty fucking provocative. Like, a lot of people hated him just for that insinuation. And the fact
I thought was a lot of great ideas in the book, but there was one line in there that summarizes all of it, which is, applies to society of any era. Is why do we use the system now? Is it the best thing ever? No. And I'm not quoting directly because I can't remember the exact lines. It's a horrible paraphrase, but it gets the idea across. And is this the best system ever? And no, but it's what works now. That's why we use it. And it can apply.
And there was a lot of generally kind of good ideals in there about like, so, well, especially the stuff that Dubois, which Lieutenant Colonel Dubois retired, was largely seen by like people like reviewing the book as kind of being it is Heinlein's insertion of himself and his ideologies being spoken into the book. That was kind of what like when you looked at it, that's kind of what it felt like, right? And one of the things why are we on? I just realized that we're so off.
I was about to ask you guys the same question.
We're just like going off. Anyway, he thought
like, yeah, y'all thought about this book.
Let's backtrack. We started off on bite controls, and then we went into Heinlein philosophy, and that's
Oh shit. We just went off the damn rails. So in any case, yes, a lot of interesting stuff in there. Not everything was good, and obviously historically, look through it through historic or with a grain of salt. It's not necessarily something to buy into. Let's move on to another topic, shall we?
I think before we go too far, we need to honor TotalBiscuit.
Yeah. There's one more thing, and then I'm going to drop this subject. the Steam controller has a beta update on there that allows you to connect it via Bluetooth, which is actually pretty awesome. Now, I knew it had this capability before because I was researching, like, more than a year ago, like, can the Steam controller connect via Bluetooth? And more or less the answer was unanimously no. But I did a little bit of digging on their connectivity technology with the dedicated dongle that they have. And it was based on the Bluetooth protocol. It just had a proprietary encoding for Steam for low latency. And then all of a sudden, bam, now you can connect it to your phone and use Steam Link on your phone. And it has a lot of more awesome potential. Like the same controller, they have not physically put out a different version of. Still the original Steam controller. They keep making it do more and more shit. That's something that I was, impressed by it.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. The updated Steam controller now can connect via Bluetooth if the dongle gets in your way, or you can't connect to it, or you're trying to, connect it to your phone, use the Steam Link in-home streaming through your phone, which works pretty well. It's just really, really tiny.
Yep.
Good addition onto that software right there.
Yep. But yeah,
now
no.
they can update the damn Steam Link itself. Oh yeah, fuck you, Apple, for not approving of the Steam Link app.
They'll get that sorted. But in any case, yeah. Kev is right though. We'd be remiss if we didn't, at least spend a little time kind of honoring and remembering TotalBiscuit or John Bain, who did unfortunately pass away this past week. Although he's been battling cancer for the past
4 years?
4 years, something like that. I think he got diagnosed in 2014. Or no, was it
2014.
terminal? Was it terminal in 20? I don't know. In any case,
one of the two. Now I want to give full disclosure because I think he has a huge influence with Morton how we ended up formatting the podcast. I wasn't his biggest fan. I didn't hate the guy. No bashing of the guy. But full disclosure, I did disagree with some of the things he did, but I don't wish death on nobody.
Yeah. Like, yeah, that's the first thing is that now from the positions he took on various topics, I don't think I agreed with everything he ever said about everything. Right? I think that would be foolish for any person to say that, right? But at the same time, first of all, I just want to give a big fuck you to all the goddamn journalists and shit that are like out there like the day he died throwing shade on like, oh, well, yeah, he died, but look at all the bad shit that he did. Like, come on. You guys.
Like, everybody makes mistakes.
Especially fucking journalists. Have some damn integrity in your fucking job. Like, that's disgusting.
Integrity is not a thing in current year?
Yeah, no. Like, journalistic ethics and integrity. Which, by the way, that's the reason why they're all pissed at him, is because he called them out for being fucking shills and having no integrity. And then they demonstrate their lack of integrity by fucking insulting the man the day he died. Like, you guys are disgusting. But aside from that, we won't focus on that too much. And I'm not going to name any names because they don't deserve that publicity. The thing is that our podcast, as we formatted it, was greatly influenced, as many people could tell, by the co-optional podcast, which is something that he kind of started up. And while we tend to go our own way as far as what we talk about and how we do it, and that's not necessarily the same, it still would be unfair to try to claim that it was our own original ideas for some things. And on top of that is that, like, one of the big things that I have agreed with him on was disagreeing with a lot of the AAA mainstream narratives, and instead preferring to highlight a lot of indie titles, smaller titles. Hell, his highlighting of Warframe and a WTF is for Warframe back in like 2012 or 2013 is the reason why it's so big today. Well, not the reason, but it is one of the big reasons why it was able to sustain for so many years afterwards. That got a huge influx of players to see the game, figured out they liked the game, and they've been playing it since. So yeah, that's something that an impact that you can't really say, ooh, that was small. He was a small fish. No, that's not the case. But so Kev, why don't you tell us something that you did disagree with him on, like just as an intellectual disagreement, not a I didn't like his hat.
Oh no, a lot of it was just like the his reviews. I liked WTF is as a different perspective, but most of the time on his game reviews I disagreed. I wasn't really a fan of Co-optional Podcast. That's just me. I think the format was cool. But even when we came to this, I remember came and started doing this. I was trying to do something more like Gaming Illuminati, where you want to do, and we started off kind of somewhere in between, and we ended up doing more of this, which is more of the game to co-op. But it works. So, I still think he's a big voice. I love that how he was very pro-consumer. I think my favorite video of his was the frame rate non-debate. Where he was talking about, developers stopped developing games with 60 FPS in mind on console specifically because they found that if a game looks bad, it rates a lot worse, but they don't really rate for frame rate. Game reviewers, I mean.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that was probably my favorite video.
And he actually started up what do you call it? The
was it the frame rate police?
Yeah, the frame rate police. Which was like it was one of the biggest things. Like people it was so divisive though, right? You guys remember
developers were pissed.
Yeah, that was something that definitely got some people furious. Was whenever all of a sudden people are like, oh, it's not playing at 60 FPS. Sorry, but now as a result of that, so many games are like, play at 60 FPS minimum. So
yeah, and now you're getting bashed on PC if you cap the frame rate at all.
Yeah,
like I don't care if your monitor only does 144 hertz. This motherfucker better be able to hit that 450 frames a second.
I love the people throwing up all the LUL emotes. Yeah. By the way, anybody not catching that reference on there, that is actually TotalBiscuit immortalized. That's what that LUL emote was all about, was him laughing hysterically at something.
Yeah, so like I said, I mean, rest in paradise. I have nothing but good things to say about him and his family right now. I just, like I said, I'd be lying if I said I was his biggest fan, because I wasn't.
Well, and I don't think, if everybody agrees with you, you're doing something wrong. I would hope that everybody doesn't agree with me. I know that Kevin.
Demand.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm just throwing that in there, just off a reference.
You demand a recount? Is that what you said?
No, I said I demand to differ.
You demand to differ.
Because I don't beg.
No, you don't beg. You demand. That's, you have to throw it up there, But no, I don't know. I think that it's, especially whenever you're someone as opinionated as he was, it is, you're going to find a lot of people are going to have disagreements with you. But I don't know. I think that at least some of the generalistic ones, the generalistic positions that he took, I thought were actually really those were the ones that stuck with me. Like, for example, framing a lot of opinions in the way that you're viewing things from the perspective of consumer advocacy, rather than is this game good in my opinion, or is this game good for the consumer in my opinion? Adding that frame in there. Like, for example, with Shadow of War, say what you like about Shadow of War, hey, I don't like this particular thing, I think the game is boring, or whatever. The main thing that he spoke up on was whenever, and obviously there was a personal connection here that made perfect sense to me, that whenever I think one of the developers died of cancer, they were like, hey, we're going to sell the consumer a DLC troll or orc character that was designed in honor of him, and donate a portion of the proceeds to like a charity or something like that. They're still making.
I would donate the whole proceeds to his damn family.
That was the thing. That's where like TotalBiscuit looked into it, and he was like, it's only like 40% or something like that, or whatever.
And it's only like at certain places.
Yeah, in only certain countries. And he was like, this is at what point this becomes an ethical and a consumer advocacy issue. And he's like, I can't abide by this. Like this is scummy as shit. And him and several other people spoke up very vehemently about it, and they ended up just offering it for free, which that's fine. I mean, if they wanted to sell it and just, like, now the reason why it wasn't available in some places is because there was certain licensing restrictions in certain areas on charity work stuff that they couldn't get in time. That's fine. But the whole, you're taking a portion off the top and lining your own pockets for what you're claiming as a charity thing. Come on. That's scuzzy. But that's still him looking at it from a consumer advocacy perspective, rather than just, I'm upset that they're selling DLC, for a guy that died of cancer, and just making it entirely a personal issue. That was something that I thought was at least respectable of him. Although the motivation for why he got upset about it was pretty obviously personal to him, because he had cancer at that point, very deep in cancer. So I don't know. In any case, there is no easy way to transition off of this topic. There's no segue. There's no real segue off of this. So we're going to ever so smoothly move into to talking about E3 and the games from that, because I feel like we can probably talk about that for quite some time. So just because I don't want this to be a downer of like we're talking about TotalBiscuit for 5.5 hours. As great of a person as he was, I definitely respect, pour one out for him and that sort of thing. But we'll start with Kev talking about how much you love E3, because all the trailers that end up not being like the games that they're advertising.
We all know I love E3.
Yeah.
But he put me on the spot. I was expecting that.
Yeah. That's what I do. That's literally my thing.
Mm-hmm.
I put Xaiphen on the spot with the controllers. He was on top of it.
Listen, I'm not on top of it. I'm not like that. I prepare. I prep. Well, I'm excited to see what comes out. What PC games are coming out? Because at this point, all the games they say they're just coming to consoles, come on PC. Almost all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless it's like in-house Sony or in-house Nintendo, they come to PC. So that to me at this point as a PC player, from that perspective, is what I'm looking forward to at E3 the most. Because they might say, oh yeah, well this run on Xbox One X. Okay. The game looks good enough, interesting enough. Let's wait to hear some more information about it. Then play it on PC.
Yeah. I mean, well, the thing is, isn't it E3 where they have the PC show or whatever now that?
But the PC gaming show is trash.
It is so garbage.
It is historically trash. I think they should just let Devolver Digital just take over that show, because Devolver Digital kills it every year.
Pinnacle Ops just has it out for you, Kev.
I know, right? He just does not like it. I have no idea why.
It's racist.
He's racist.
That's racist!
I don't know. But I don't. No, I remember watching the first PC gaming show ever, and I was like, I don't know. It was so bad I couldn't watch it after that. That it was just.
Yeah, the PC gaming show is trash. It's always been trash. I actually E3. I mean, it's not as good these last couple years as it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still taking off work to do it. Every year I take off work to watch E3. That's just kind of my thing. It goes into the summer. It would feel weird not to at this point. But yeah, I'm not checking for the PC gaming show.
No, most of it is that I am interested to see. I always like to see new things come out. Of course, I'm just going to immediately go ahead and hand the L to Anthem because we know Anthem's just going to be a Destiny clone, and I just want them to get it over with so people stop fucking talking about the game.
I want to see Anthem. I'm hoping it's good. Now, considering how much the two of you like Warframe, which are all kind of games in the same vein, Destiny, Warframe, The Division, they're all, even Diablo, where they're all designed to be around being looters. Borderlands, yes. I throw in there too. What are you saying that you're just fuck this game before seeing any more of it, or are you saying, hey, I want to actually see more of it and possibly give it a shot?
No, my major issue with it is that I largely I'm like Warframe. I haven't touched Warframe in a long ass time. Like even I have like the genre is one where you pick one particular game in that genre, and this is the same way with a lot of other genres. You pick one game in that genre,
fighters.
Yep, and you kind of have to stick to that game and really dedicate time to it. And the thing,
even first FPS games are kind of like that now.
Yeah, actually, especially competitive ones like Rainbow Six or Overwatch or whatever. You have to like commit to that game and that game only. I fucking am tired of all the goddamn games that are like that. That are you have to play this game for 8 hours a day, 7 days a week, and no other game ever in order for you to really get the most positive experience out of it. It's the reason I don't play Overwatch or any of those games, because I'm just like, I want to play a game like Divinity Original Sin 2. I can sit down, I can play it for a little while. Hey, I want to go play another game? Cool, I can go play another game. Come back a couple months later, I'm still enjoying the game. I don't have to like reacclimate myself to it. I don't have to practice for a couple of days to get good again. I can just enjoy it. And it's not a casual thing, because that game, especially the way I play it,
it's a single player thing.
It's a single player thing, but it's also a I guess that's really what it is. It's the single player, and it's not a persistent live service game.
I mean, I think you can do that you can do that with Destiny also. I haven't gotten in depth enough with Warframe to say that you can or cannot. Yeah, but especially if you only play the PvE portions of Destiny, you could totally do that.
Well, I mean, the thing is though, is it's all the Warframe and Destiny and almost certainly Anthem. The whole purpose of it is a grind. The whole goal of it is grind out the newest gear, the newest shit, because there's no real story. There's no real motivation other than you wanting the newest, coolest, best stuff that's out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's all RNG drops, so you have to like grind out those RNG drops. It's not like now Warframe admittedly has quests where you'll do portions of those quests which guarantee a reward. It's not like in some of them the reward's not guaranteed, so you have to do it a few times. So they have a mixture of that in there. But I don't have the time or energy to do that shit anymore. It bugs me to no end that I have to like play Warframe for hours and hours and hours just to get the stuff that I want. And it's not necessarily that I have to play it for hours and hours, because Divinity Original Sin, I put an inordinate amount of time into that game. The main thing is I want to be able to have like some kind of, at least some sort of semblance of a linear progression, right? And for a fact that Anthem is not going to have linear progression, and it's going to have loot box drops. They're going to try to place it, it's just cosmetic, but it's still going to be loot boxes. They're going to have loot boxes. That's their thing. I don't know, Xaiphen.
I'm hoping that these companies actually learn, especially in terms of loot boxes. Like, for example, Destiny learned a lot because they caught a lot of heat for it. They're still doing stupid shit, like they put an emote and just put a $2 price tag on it. They still have the loot box shop in Eververse, but the stuff you get in Eververse is mostly trash. You occasionally get a cool emote out of there, but most of it's trash. So hopefully games will take that and they'll learn like from Destiny's downfalls this time around. Because Destiny's made a lot of mistakes. They pissed people off. and they've gone by and fixed most of the problems, I think.
What do you think, Xaiphen? You play a lot of Warframe.
Well, here's the thing: is like I take a different, slightly different perspective at this point on Warframe than you do, and that's why I keep playing it. Is because for me at this point in time, it like yes, there's new stuff that they throw in there that I may or may not like, but I've gotten to the point of collected enough. I put so many hours in there. It's like, yeah, that's nice. I'll get it eventually. You know, like I've been playing it so long, and I know I'm going to keep playing it for a while until eventually that whole project just fizzles out, and it will eventually. It may take a good number of years before it does, but it'll fizzle out. It'll become abandoned. They may move on for better, newer and better things. Whatever the case is, for me at this point in time, like I don't, the game starts out with a little bit of a linear progression. But then it branches out. It's like, a tree. You've got the trunk of it, has linear progression, what little story there is on there, which they're adding to it. And you can get, more and more pieces of that as they add on to it each year. They try to do a little bit of a story progression here and there. And then there's all the collectivity shit. I know I just wordified that. I don't care. Which is the rest of the tree. And, I just go through and I start picking leaves here and there. Like, I only got a couple of minutes to play a game. That's going to be the game I start up. There's, like, I can run through, like, hey, what mission's available? I just want to play a game. What's the quick missions right there? Oh, that looks cool. I'll run through that. I started up, ran the game for 3 minutes, and then I was done. And that's all the time I had to play any game. There's no other game that I can do that with. Just get, a little bit of game action and be done with it and actually have a closure on whatever I was playing. Finish that particular objective and such like that. There's no other game that you can run through that fast with. Even Wildlands, which other, Wildlands is kind of a looter at this point. And I've been spending a lot of time.
Oh, it's 100% a looter. Like, the story is garbage in that game. Like, it's a what I call instead of being a looter shooter like Warframe, it's called a broken looter, as in the game is broken to the point where all you can do is loot it.
Well, yeah.
The game is so broken, I rage quit. I rage quit midstream.
That was great. Game. That was great. I actually, Xaiphen and I made jokes about that for the rest of the stream.
I bet you did. The brokenness just pissed me off. I'm like, I'm done.
The funny thing is the moment he left the stream, everything was good. We had some fun.
Yeah. That was... Like, you were just causing it. That game did not like you. That game was racist.
It was. It was racist.
But yeah, that's the thing is like Wildlands. Because it's an open world looter, you have travel time in there. Even with the quick travel, you still have like getting from point A to point B, complete your objective. The fastest I've ever been able to run into a particular objective of something I want. Now I like the lack of RNG on collecting stuff.
Yeah,
that's not. As a determinist, I have a very poor point of view on random chance anything.
Yep.
Because there's nothing truly random. But, at any rate, moving on from that. That game, it's still like I'm looking at, 10-minute time frame on dealing with anything. Unless I'm trying to bull rush something and somehow not get killed, then maybe 5 minutes. Maybe, but I really doubt that. Like, I don't think I've ever spent less than 10 minutes on anything involving that game, other than just like fucking around with equipment. Like, oh, what kind of swaps and setups on this? When I get into that shit too, I spend more time than I do on running through a mission. So there's nothing that I can run through in any game I've ever played as fast as I can in Warframe. If I just want to get in some action, I've only got a few minutes to play. That's Warframe at this point.
Starting out like that with Destiny, because I know I can like jump in, I can play for 20 minutes and be out.
Yeah, I was gonna say what's
20 minutes can be a mission on ME3. It can be a front defense on Titanfall. Any one of these PvE games, 20 minutes can be plenty of time. It may be short on some certain situations, but 20 minutes is sometimes a lot longer than what I usually have to play or want to play at that particular time of day.
So what are your thoughts, Kev? Like, what's your, whenever you have like a game like Anthem or whatever, and say you're invested in Destiny, like, from your perspective, because I know you tend to be the one that grinds through a bunch of games, or not grinds through, but you tend to want to experience a lot of different games as opposed to, hone in on one specific one. So what's your viewpoint on that? Like what?
Actually, I'm starting to slow down on that.
Mm-hmm.
I started slowing down on that about a year ago with Mass Effect Andromeda. I basically ignored everything that was coming out. I just played Andromeda. I think I played 300 hours in it. I started doing the same with Destiny 2 when it came out. Then I took a break. So I will ignore games sometimes and hone in on just one. The problem I have with games these days is so many of them just don't hook me. Like the gameplay loop or whatever the game's supposed to do really well does it kind of mediocre. Or I just see a bunch of games that come out, for example, this past week, we had Detroit Become Human, something I've been wanting to play, and I've been wanting to play since they announced it. Dark Souls Remastered, and State of Decay all came out at once. I loved the original State of Decay. I put down the second one for a little bit. I'm waiting for them to patch it. I've been so hooked on Destiny that I barely touched Dark Souls. I'm still in this third area. And then with Detroit, I like the game, but I haven't touched it in about a week, again, because I've been grinding Destiny. So I find it now I need to focus on less games, because I just don't have the time to play all the games that I want to play.
Well,
and I still haven't finished Persona. I'm like 35, 40 hours into Persona 5. Where do you find time to play all these games?
Yeah, well, I mean, for my thought is I still think there's games that hook you, but I think more of it is that I don't know. I've run into that problem too, where there's a lot of games that come out that I'm just like, yeah, it just doesn't grab me the right way. Like that's I can kind of see that, but I mean, I think a lot of it is that games nowadays are more, or at least a lot of the big AAA titles are more and more designed to take up more and more of your time. They want to keep you in-game committed for longer, and the reason why the live service model, from my understanding of it, is that they have some way to continually monetize the player after purchase.
Right, and I think it also might be, at least for me, in my perspective, the way I approach games and the way I've always played games. I've always played, and this is the reason why I love Sony games so much too. I've always played story-driven, linear single-player games. My thing with games that people even ask me now, okay, Kev, you're in your 30s, you're married, you have kids, you have a career. Why are you still playing video games? I can watch Batman or I can be Batman. That's usually my response. I play Forza because I can drive around in these nice, expensive cars that I will never afford. So it's like shit like that. That's what I love about games. So for me, it's I play a lot of different games. It's usually I want to experience something that I'll never experience, like these amazing tropical vistas that you'll see in Uncharted, or even in something like Tomb Raider. Like I'm really excited about Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I love going to these historical places that I'll never get to go to, like Assassin's Creed Origin. I'd love to go to ancient Egypt.
Well, let's hold down on the historical part. I would say fictional might be the better.
Well, I mean fictional, but based on this place.
Loosely.
Loosely. You know what they're going for, and they take all kinds of liberties with it.
Oh, they take a lot of fucking liberties in that game. There was some.
Yeah. I think you're taking what I'm saying a little too literal.
There's some argument on game fidelity, like how pretty the game is versus how engaging it is, how good the story is, how much it sucks you. But in some cases, as Kev pointed out, seeing things that seeing places that you never be able to see, the amount of detail that they're capable of putting into these games now compared to 20 years ago. You can see other parts of the world to a level of detail of almost actually being there, and that's not even that's not trying to get into VR aspects. That's just flat screen. I've done some traveling, but that's military environment traveling. It's very selective. It's not
very
very different. Do a little bit. Yeah, you can do a little bit of touring as opportunity arises, but it's not truly being a tourist. And that's where you get a lot of enjoyment out of things, is really being a tourist, of the awe you have of some foreign environments. And the same thing of driving driving vehicles that again, I've had military experience with that. I've had some fun on vehicles that some people will only get to see in movies or drive in a video game or something like that. And the same aspect of cars, drive cars that I will never be able to afford.
Yeah, I've wrecked cars more expensive than some people have.
So
I said you'll drive fast cars and find creative ways to wreck them. By the way, your wheel is a half mile back down the road.
Here's the keys.
And don't worry, that lady whose wheel you just hit is gonna come by and yell at us. Don't worry.
Yeah, well, yeah.
That's true story. True story. But that's actually.
Your tire hit my car. Like, yeah, I didn't have any control over it at that point in time. Nor the rest of it. I didn't.
Like that was yes, I detached the wheel hub from my car and threw it at you. I intended to do that.
I don't like this wheel anymore. But also another funny moment that you did not witness, because you were already living across the country. A few months ago, I was driving down the road and I see this vehicle, and there was no movie crash situation that you would expect from that, and definitely not the situation that we experienced with wheel being removed from the car. I just see this car driving along, and what I see first, before the car dragging to a stop, is wheel going away from it.
Oh God!
Through the ditch, down and then up the ditch, up the hill. The fucking wheel keeps going, and then I look at the car, and I don't see sparks or the car dragging to one side. It's still kind of going in a straightish line, and it was a front wheel too. I'm just like, whoa, fuck! Some mechanics are gonna be screwed. Whoever the fuck put that wheel on last, they lost their job.
Well, damn.
Yeah, that you watch that in slow motion. You're just like, oh God, oh God, oh God. I know what's gonna happen. You can't look away. You're just like
wheel.
Sidetracking again, but no. Coming back to E3 expectations on there. So I do want to say, one of the things that I kind of am looking forward to a little bit though, is actually seeing some of the rehashes, and I know it's coming out the end of this month, so it's not so much E3, but I am kind of interested to see how they do Mega Man. So I don't know if you guys have read anything about the new Mega Man coming out, but it's going to be like a 2.5D, but it's actually hand-drawn art as opposed to
so it's like Mighty Number 9,
something like that, yeah, except for hopefully not garbage.
Good.
But yeah, and it's actually kind of interesting that they're trying to be a little bit more, I guess, genuine with the game, which that to me is actually, it kind of interests me, because I played Mega Man, one of them. I played a Mega Man game or 3. I don't remember which one it was. God damn it! I know I played the first one, and then I played someone after that point, and I don't remember which one it was, because there's been obviously 11 of.
I've seen more of the Mega Man cartoon as a kid than I've played the games. That's kind of sad.
Yeah.
That's extremely sad.
It is extremely sad, because Mega Man, that's awesome stuff, man. The best part of Mega Man is the names of their bosses, because they're all, first of all that game's misogynist, because all the characters are man.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't want Mega Man to be a woman beater.
Yeah, I know, but no, that one kind of interests me, but that's not actually going to be at E3. I don't think they're just going to be releasing it at the end of this month. The other one,
Capcom usually doesn't do too many conferences.
No, they don't. But the other one that I'm kind of I do want to see how Anthem pans out, because truthfully, I don't think the trailer we saw, was it last year or the year before? Last year, maybe, I don't know, but the trailer we saw last year, man, looked really good, and I'm like, but that was like a very early vertical slice video, right? I don't think that's what they're gonna get. I think it's going to be considerably chopped down because that's the way these things go. But you know, it's I don't know. I have difficulty getting excited about BioWare stuff anymore. Okay. People talking about woman beating. Oh, never mind. Yeah, Mega Man. But yeah, my thing is that what I'm really looking forward to is to see what new kind of indie ideas come out. The stuff that nobody's talking about is going to be like, oh, we just saw this thing that we didn't expect. That's what I'm looking for. Stuff that's hyped up like Anthem, I'm not really excited about. You know, maybe they throw some. But the one thing that we will see at E3 that I can't.
Seems like it might be interesting.
Which one?
It's not Transference.
I vaguely remember that one. What was that one about?
Hang on, let me see if I can find more detail on it.
While you're doing that, I have another question for you too. How do you guys, as being PC exclusive gamers at this point, how does E3 affect you? Because the stuff that excites me is seeing the console exclusives.
So the first thing is E3. Most people, while they have made it a bit more of a commercial event, most people don't realize that E3 is actually it's a corporate investment event. Okay, so a lot of the stuff they are announcing at E3, while they have made it a little bit more commercial and get some more PR action out of it, most of the purpose of E3 is for corporate funding to like show off games in order to like, you know, either get funding or create additional funding or kind of create corporate trust in a brand and that sort of thing. So from a PC gamer perspective, I mean, there's no real, I don't really find a particular consumer perspective that really is necessarily wholly positive of E3, because it's not really designed for the consumer from its core. They've adapted it to make it a little bit better for the consumer, but not really much. A lot of the shit there that they show off is to me inherently glossed up because it's meant to be sold to investors, not to consumers. But aside from that, from a PC perspective on there, I personally, from my opinion on there, I really wish that it would be less platform, like there would be less focus on the platforms with relation to the games that are announced. If Microsoft, they want to talk about their hardware and saying, bam, oh man, we're doing these amazing things with the hardware, or they wanted to talk about the games they're publishing and never releasing, Crackdown 3.
Scalebound.
Scalebound. Yeah, Scalebound. Oh, that's...
Rip.
Well, no, I think Crackdown 3 is still might eventually come out, but Scalebound's done.
I think Crackdown 3 is done. It's seen too many delays. Remember, it was revealed, I believe, at the first at 2014, the first Microsoft E3 conference after the Xbox One came out.
Yeah,
and it's seen delay after delay after delay. Then we were supposed to get it last year, and we saw a clip of it. It looked terrible. Internet went ham. They delayed it, and we were supposed to get it now. It's supposed to be out like right now, and they haven't even told us that it's been delayed yet. They haven't said anything about it. So I think they just said spring 2018, and it's done.
Yeah, that's my thought. But no, in any case, though, you know, if Microsoft wanted to talk about games they're publishing, right, and they want to talk about the games, like they want to talk about the hardware of Xbox, like they're doing these updates or adding these new things to the hardware. The part that I have the issue with is this game exclusive on console exclusive. God, that drives me nuts. Console exclusive, and then they announce some game. That shit I hate. But that's where the whole investor thing comes in, right? Both Sony and Microsoft's presentation are all about, look how valuable our platform is to investors, right? That's what they're going for, is, you know, for the investors of, look at what we have, our exclusive IP that's valuable that's on our platforms. They don't care about the consumers on there because exclusives are inherently anti-consumer. You are excluding parts of a consumer base that is inherently anti-consumer. Even though I'm okay with first-party exclusives, so Sony publishing the game, I get it. It's gonna be on PlayStation. Cool. Microsoft's publishing it. Yeah, I get it. It's gonna be on Xbox.
So let me make sure I'm understanding, because it sounds like you changed your position on this. Because that's always been my thought. I don't like third-party exclusivity.
I don't like any exclusivity. I am understanding of first party. And that's kind of been my position for a while now that I've, as you and I have debated on this, most particularly, I'm like, I don't like it, but it's kind of a fact of life, right? That we have to deal with.
It's just a thing.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's not ideal, it's not perfect, but it's just part of gaming at this point.
So what was that quote from Heinlein, Xaiphen? It's not the best system, it's the one we have.
Yeah, it's what works now.
It's what works now. Yeah, exactly. Bringing it back to Heinlein again. Oh yeah, that's gonna be our thing.
So about transference, which you can find a listing on Steam, although it says available fall 2018.
Yeah,
it's a already VR capable game. It's a psychological thriller that merges movies with games. It looks like it's a you unfold a mystery.
Sounds like Quantum Break. Have you seen those frame rates?
Family. So, I didn't hear you. What?
It sounds like Quantum Break. Have you seen those frame rates?
This Quantum Break, though, was primarily launched on console.
Yeah.
It was launched on PC too.
It was Xbox Play Anywhere. You can play it on the Windows Store.
It was the first Xbox Play Anywhere before they even had a name for it.
Kev, I'm going to tell you right away, it's Ubisoft.
Wait, which one? Transference is Ubisoft?
Transference is Ubisoft published.
I'm really iffy on Ubisoft.
The thing is, so to be fair, Ubisoft has a particular flavor that they do well, and I joke about this a lot. While it's not a Ubisoft game, kind of the Grand Theft Auto style of open world that you see repeated in Assassin's Creed and Far Cry and Watch Dogs.
The Division.
The Division 2, and although the Division has some more MMO elements thrown in there, but it's still all of those games, and including Wildlands, right, all have this similar flavor of game type that they do well. I wish they would go away from that and diversify a little bit, because I feel like that they have had success with Assassin's Creed and Far Cry, so now all of their games have to be Assassin's Creed and Far Cry. So I wish that they would stop. Like, for example, Ghost Recon. You can have a linear, kind of tactical third-person shooter like Ghost Recon Future Soldier. You can still do that, and then also have your Assassin's Creeds and your Far Cries, and still have those be successful in their market, and Future Soldier be successful in its market. The thing you don't want to do is just over budget Ghost Recon when it might be a smaller game and have a smaller sales price to it.
Well, I think the problem with Ubisoft is they don't understand the gaming audience. Nope. We have Ubisoft fans, people who just like Ubisoft games, and they like all Ubisoft games. So we make all Ubisoft games the same. I realize I just don't like the Tom Clancy games that much. I thought The Division was cool, but I don't like Wildlands. I'm not crazy about Siege. But then at the same time, I really like Assassin's Creed. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed Far Cry 5. Didn't really care about 4 or 3.
I enjoyed the Pirates Creed. That was
good. Pirates Creed was great.
Yeah, Pirates Creed. That was my favorite in the series. Assassin's Creed 1 and 2 especially. 2 was great. I love 2. 3 just made me want to fucking choke the shit out of Connor. God, I fucking hate Connor.
That's the general consensus that I've gotten from it. I played maybe an hour or two of 3. I haven't in the maybe 20 minutes of 2.
I wanted to play
I mostly
as
played
Xaiphen.
like I played. My first one was Black Flag. I beat Black Flag. I beat Unity. I'm playing through Origins. I tried to beat or not. I didn't beat Unity. I beat Syndicate. I tried to
I was gonna
play
say
through Unity, but
on PC nobody can beat Unity. Ah.
I.
I know they fixed it, but still, I gotta throw the
Yeah,
joke
but it
out.
runs like shit on my 1080.
Yeah, but no, like, I wanted to play as Xaiphen in Assassin's Creed 3 just so I could kill Honor. That sounded good to me. I was okay with siding with it. I hate the Templars. I don't like what they stand for. Right? They're all about collectivism, and I'm not a big fan of it. But I would still side with the Templar against Connor.
You ruthless individual.
Yeah. So.
See, I never made it through the second game. I played the first, very well enjoyed it. It was a new and interesting concept at the time. You know, it was a bit of a unique game style.
Mm-hmm.
And I started playing into the second one and just kind of fizzled out on the series at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Now, maybe it's me too, because with Assassin's Creed, I play it depending on where you're going. And that's like the main reason I play Assassin's Creed. Ooh, I can go on an adventure in Egypt. Ooh, I can be a pirate. Yeah. I don't actually play it because it's like I love Assassin's Creed. Ooh, I can go into old school England. Sounds fun, right? They're talking about this new one, the Elite. It's supposed to be ancient Rome, which reminds me of what was it, Rise Son of Rome, which I loved Rise Son of Rome.
Yeah, Rise was really interesting the way they kind of like where it went. Like at first you kind of were like, oh, Roman military stuff, and then it started kind of getting a little bit more like into like old gods and shit, and I was like, okay, all right.
Yeah, I thought the game was really good. I think it disappointed me because when you talk to the Xbox crowd, because it was originally exclusive to Xbox, they all said it was trash, and then I played it on PC. I'm like, this game's fire. Like, what y'all talk about?
I wouldn't expect a Rise experience from Assassin's Creed Roman Edition.
I would, only because of how they changed the combat in Origins.
Well, no, the reason why I say that is because it's going to be Rome, like Rise was while it had some good combat mechanics, a lot of it was kind of a more linear style of storytelling, right?
Yeah. Ubisoft doesn't do storytelling or linear. Good point.
Exactly. I'm not saying it won't have its fun bits, and that might be one that I'm interested in playing just because I love ancient Rome. That's like, come on now, you look at my games library, I think I have 4 or 5 games about the ancient Roman Empire. So, well, the Roman Republic, Roman Empire, whatever. But like I've had every damn Total War Rome game. Both 1 and 2, and all the deals. Okay, I've paid too much money to Sega and Creative Assembly, I think.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I don't know. Like honestly, the Rome 2 was not the best.
We saw storytelling.
But
going back to that looks like it actually may have a pretty interesting story behind it, and that does look like it may be pretty linear. It's supposed to, like I said, psychological thriller.
Yeah.
I don't know, something like that catches my interest when it's got like a very, a dark environment that like kind of sucks you into the narrative of it. That's something that may interest me. The catch is, will I be able to find time to play it? At least
I'll be back in a sec. I gotta go pee.
Wow, really?
Yeah. That's how he does it. That's
but it's it has a story and it's published by Ubisoft. So either they're gonna fuck it all up, or it's gonna be something surprisingly good from them in that factor.
Yeah, well, it is. I do like to see like more. Oh fucking hell! Xaiphen is so dark. Is he from the DC universe? Sorry, it's funnier because it's a Deadpool joke. Anyway, no, it's I love the idea of them doing new things rather than, like I said, making everything the kind of Assassin's Creed Far Cry style. Maybe it'll be bad, who knows, but the fact that they're trying new stuff, that's what's interesting to me, I think, mainly. Xaiphen managed to freeze his camera.
What?
There he is. But no, like I don't know.
And not only did I freeze, but it's in a very awkward position on that one. That's awesome. I'm just like, yeah.
Yeah, it was. It was. I noticed, by the way, no one ever like. There is no like freezing in an unawkward position.
Just need to stay static, staring at the camera like this the whole time. Very stoic face, like I'm from a early era photograph.
Well, and that's the way that, of course, you have to take pictures. You have to make sure that you stay still and you never move, ever, even after the picture is gone. So, if this game transfers, so what's the unique premise to it? So it's a more linear story, psychological thriller. But what's the hook to it?
Here's the thing: is it seems a little hard to follow exactly what it is, and I think this year's E3 is going to reveal more on it because they first introduced it last year's E3. Mm-hmm. But it seems like you take a first-person perspective of what looks like a psychological test subject. And like I said, this is a VR-capable game. You can actually play. It works with the HTC Vive, and I don't know if it works with Oculus or not. I saw the Vive on there, and then I was kind of skimming through other listings because there's a bit of detail, but not an excessive amount on the Steam listing for it. But it seems like it seems like it may be kind of like the game Heavy Rain. Where it
where it's a
like I said, psychological thriller that has a pretty good definition on it. It's going to emotionally suck you in.
Well, yeah, Heavy Rain really fucked with your brain.
Yeah. A little bit.
Well, and the fact of Heavy Rain, you had to get the right ending to even solve the crime and figure out who's the actual killer.
Yeah, exactly. There was a way, multiple ways to end that game and not actually know who done it. But this one, it doesn't look like it's it's not a detective thriller. It's not like a whodunit sort of thing. It's a more or less like like a figure out how the fuck this particular character's brain is working. I think it said something about the Walter test case. You take the perspective of the Walter test case, which I don't know exactly what that is, if that's just a fictional in-game reference or if that was a real test case study. I tried to Google that, and I came up with
Walter test case.
What?
The Walter test case. Test. Good God, I can't fucking talk. Test case.
I can't spell either.
The Return of Walter Test. I have no idea. That's yeah. Anyway, that's not gonna give us shit. I don't know, that would be interesting to see on there. But the main thing I know that you were super excited about is I know you're super excited about the newest Madden and FIFA games. Because those will also have a spot at E3. I know how big of a fan you are, especially of Madden.
I'm containing my excitement right now.
He's learned how to be stuck. Well,
there it is.
While we're talking, yeah, on cue, exactly. While we're talking about games that I'm not really excited about, but Kev super is. Let's give Kev his chance to damage control Fallout 76. Or as I've called it, subtitle is, I've got you in my fats.
I've already told you there is no damage control for 76 until I see it.
Mm-hmm.
I have to see more gameplay before I comment.
So suppose, and obviously we don't have any confirmation on it yet. So big heaping pile of salt here. So from rumors, supposedly it's gonna be like a kind of a co-op survival experience, more like less griefy version of like Daisy or something like that. Is that a game?
It's not going to be like Daisy or Rust or anything like that. I'm thinking it might be more like State of Decay.
You think so?
Yeah, from what I've seen and what I've read, which might be great. I loved the original State of Decay. But you think about that, if you have people that are just coming out of the vault, and now they're trying to reestablish civilization after the bombs dropped. that's a pretty interesting premise, I think.
Yeah.
If they do it right.
Well, and that's the first thing is of course.
What if you're playing as a bunch of Brotherhood soldiers?
The first thing I do have to openly like denounce on there is from rumors. We'll see if this turns out to be true. But if, and I suspect they will, the only reason I bring up this rumor is because I really feel like this is something Bethesda is going to do one way or another, whether it's now or not. They will block all mods except for Creation Club. If they're not doing it now, they're doing it with the next Elder Scrolls. They are going to find a way to block out those fucking mods because they want you running through their goddamn bullshit Creation Club.
And that will kill Bethesda games on PC, I think.
I feel like
after you play them on PC or for the mods.
That's the thing is that I feel like that if they love Skyrim. One of the best-selling games of all time. They've re-released like 16,000 different versions of the game after the fact.
And the reason it's great is because of the mods.
Exactly, and it's like you are literally trying to over monetize the one thing. Like, well, it's actually they're just trying to monetize it. Period. Like they have this entire sect of their games that is completely unmonetized from their side. Like you can donate to modders and they get the money directly, but it's not they don't really make a living per se off of it in most cases. Like maybe some crazy good modder.
Bethesda made the game, they put the game out, they patched the game, they did their job, they got paid for their work.
Well, they release a buggy as shit game, you know.
It could be worse. It could be like the original release of Dark Souls, where it literally was broken and unplayable on PC until modders fixed it 30 minutes later.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. The first thing that annoys me is usually something that it's not probably going to go through Creation Club that always comes out with modding is the unofficial patch, right? They always have, for every Bethesda game, there's some unofficial patch that breaks all the broken shit that Bethesda never gets to fixing. You know, they might fix some stuff, but let's be honest, their games are so goddamn buggy that they can't get to everything. It's just not going to happen. You know, and they have to prioritize what's the shit that we can actually fix feasibly, you know. And that's where the unofficial patch comes in. It's people in their own time, you know, they go in and fix the game for Bethesda. And that's one of the main things that people like about the modding scene is getting those unofficial patches. Fucking force everybody through Creation Club. It's going to kill the game. And I have a feeling that's a lot of what's going to hinge on the survival of Fallout 76 if they lock off all mods. And from what the rumor I read, supposedly an inside leak, they're going to channel the marketing on this, like the propaganda.
To make it sound for security.
Yeah,
but
security and
that.
Well, huh?
That came from Jason Schreier though.
Well,
I read that too.
The thing is Jason Schreier actually, he's not the one that I have a problem with at Kotaku. A lot of his pieces have been pretty damn good and well written for the most part. First of all, it's the Trillo, whatever the fuck his name is, at Kotaku, who is a disgusting human being and go away. And then Nathan Grayson. I can't stand Nathan Grayson, save his life. So, but no, Schreier, he tends to be an actual pretty decent investigative journalist. You know, that thing that doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, like he wrote the piece where he researched the development of Andromeda that was actually pretty well detailed, had a lot of information that he managed to glean from inside sources and that sort of thing. A lot of it, from my experience with projects, you know, it made a lot of sense. So maybe it's not true. Maybe he's just a really good liar. Who knows? But the thing is, though, is that yeah, they're gonna try to frame the banishing of regular mods as being for security, and also I think it was also for like, oh, to get rid of the adult content. So they're going
I
to
like the titty mods, damn it.
That's like the first mod that comes out for every Bethesda game is the nudie mod.
That's the first mod I downloaded, the nude mods.
And they have the and you also
that
have
runs out with her tits out all the time.
That's the thing though, is that like these games are usually like, so first of all, like the games are typically rated teen. If I remember, was Fallout 4 still rated teen, or was that rated
I don't
M?
remember. I don't remember T or M. I'd have to look it up. Give me a
Every
second.
one.
Yeah,
Was still
was it
future mutants.
the part that I'm not sure of on that is that there was some I don't know, like there was a little bit more adult content in Fallout 4 versus
It
Skyrim.
was rated M.
Yeah.
It was rated M.
So
I'm
there's
looking at the
literally
rating right now.
if it's rated M, there's literally no justification to me as to why you would want to prevent adult content from being there.
I'm gonna need you to let me post links in the chat.
Look at that! Look at that shit. He got banned. No, I'm kidding. I actually don't. That's weird. Let me see if I can permit.
I think I'm a mod on your chat, aren't I?
You 100% are a mod, which is why it's a little funny that you're on there. Look at that. Kev fail. Let's see if this works. What is his 10-7 Kev? That's right. Let's see if that works. That may not. Because the bot doesn't like me all the time.
Yeah, nope. The bot does not like me. Bot can, fuck you, nigga. We'll figure it out later.
Yeah, we'll throw it down there. But in any case, what was the link for?
For the actual ESRB rating.
Oh, for Fallout 4?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, but in that case, though, if it's rated M, I don't really understand why there would be any justification for wanting to prevent adult content. Like, oh, it would be an AO rating or whatever, you know, with like actual nudity or some such. I'm like, no, actually it wouldn't. Just having nudity in a game does not make it AO. Like, for example, Dragon Age Inquisition had nudity in it. Mm-hmm. It was rated M. You know, that's not necessarily AO. AO is at what point? Okay, and there actually are sex mods.
It's like pornographic.
There actually are pornographic mods for Skyrim, so I take that back. I don't think about them, but you know there are. I don't know where you find them, but.
Well, what rule is? I forget the rule it is, but if it's on the internet, there's porn about it.
Yeah. That's
4.
Huh? 34.
34 if it exists that somebody's made a porn of it.
Yeah. But no, the point is, yeah, you know, that's the thing is that like you in general, like there are sex mods on there, but if you had like, it's the same thing with like saying you know, hey, we're releasing a Call of Duty game, but online interactions are not rated by the ESRB. It's kind of the same thing, right? Of like you know, mods are not rated by the ESRB. It does not affect your rating of the game, so there's no justification to say, oh, we want to prevent adult content from being modded in the game, and it's our way of curating it. Like, no, that's a bunch of crap. The whole point of modding is, yes, you're gonna have some of that stuff in there, whatever, no biggie. Aside from that, you're going to have also some really good stuff. And maybe that doesn't fit into the creation club thing. Maybe the person that's creating the mod, they have a career, a full-time job that they want to continue doing, and they literally just mod as a hobby. It's something they do on the weekends or whatever, but they don't want to leave their career, because creation club pretty much is a, hey, you've always wanted to be a developer, how about you get paid for modding? That's
not what they often want to do. Sometimes they just want to, hey, I think this would be cool to do in my game. Well, some people do.
Some people want to get paid for it, and I'm all for having Creation Club as an option for people who want to go that route. I cannot fault them for it. I'm not a modder. I am not there to make a decision for them. If they want to find a way to get paid for their mods, they gotta do what they gotta do.
Right, but shout out to Jim Sterling. They don't just want some of the money; they want all of the money.
Well, you know, here's the thing: is that like that's I don't know. To me, the problem with the Creation Club is that it's not just that, like, essentially a person modding is going to probably get paid pretty bland, like, oh, we're gonna pay you $30K a year salary to do this mod or whatever, but you're not getting any of the sales. You're just getting a flat paycheck, right? Whereas if you made it like, say, Steam with their skins for like CS:GO or whatever, like I make a skin, I get a cut, you get a cut. If I make something really high quality, I'm gonna be making some bank off of that, and so is Valve, right? I don't like the percentages oftentimes of those deals, like what Bethesda tried to do with their first paid mods shit. They more or less, the person making the actual mod got like 10%. I think that's a bunch of shit, and that should be something negotiable. But
I don't understand why Valve gets a cut of the mod.
Oh yeah, that was something that bugged me. No, for CS:GO it makes sense. CS:GO, and it would be fine if they got like a 5% cut or something like that because they were hosting it. But they shouldn't be. With the Skyrim mods thing, they were like the modder got 10%, like Bethesda got like 40% or 50%, and then Valve got like a 30% or something like that. Math doesn't quite add up right there, but the point is that Bethesda got the lion's share. Then secondly, Steam got a big chunk also out of it, and then whatever was left of the scraps, the modder got, which I think
you got your money for making your game.
Yeah, like, well, then I mean,
any extra shit should be for whoever did the extra work.
Yeah, like to me, in my opinion, I think it's fair for Bethesda to want a cut for it being based on their IP. Okay, all right, that's fine. It's fair if it's hosted on Steam for Steam to get a small portion for hosting it. And when I mean small, I mean 5% or less of the total sale. So if you say you had, 35% went to Steam, and 5% went, or excuse me, 35% went to Bethesda, 5% went to Valve, and then the other 60% of that sale went to the modder. That's how I think it should be. You look at YouTube, ad revenue that I'm not even having to do really anything for, I'm still getting a 65% cut off of that. That's like in general, and some people get better, they can get better deals on it depending on if they're like YouTube preferred or whatever. Point is though, is that you're still getting like the majority of it because you were the person doing the fucking work. Yes, it's on someone else's platform, so they need a cut for hosting, whatever, but that's my problem. And now Creation Club doesn't do that. And the reason why I think it's not good doing that the other way of like essentially paying them a flat income is because it kind of stifles the desire for creativity. If you're going to allow people to sell mods, cool. Allow them to sell mods, take your little cut off of it for whatever reason, but allow it to be enough of a cut for them to want to be competitive. That's really what, because then you'll start to see really high quality mods. Like, oh, you want to sell a crap sword for $5 or whatever? No one's going to fucking buy it because it's a crap sword. Whereas if you have it like people that are trying to sell really high quality swords for $5, well, this other person's making a higher quality sword. I'm going to buy theirs. Well, that other person that's also making high quality stuff, they're going to be like, well, I need to up my game. And then they get competitive. And they can actually make decent money off of that depending on how... If they want to make something like Vault Scar, like those full world DLCs, you want to sell that shit for $20? Do it. People are going to buy that shit. Yeah, maybe, maybe have like a trial or something where people can sample it. But you want to sell it for $20, I think that's fair. Yeah, and then Valve, Bethesda gets half or whatever, you get half, making $10 a pop, few million downloads of that, you're making bank. You're pretty comfortable.
But we know that's not how these corporations work, though. They want monopolies. If they could have monopolies legally, they would do it. Exactly,
and I think that's a lot of it is that they don't want exactly they don't want competition. Yeah, that's exactly it. They don't want competition. They want control of it. They want to be able to deliver a selection of mods that they have picked that they have deemed worthy that fits into their game how they want it. Like they don't want that Iron Man mod for Fallout 4. No, that doesn't fit for them. They want stuff that fits in the Fallout universe. Oh. But I don't know. That's me rambling.
I mean, it goes back to even the discussion like when we were talking about months ago in net neutrality. Mm-hmm. Same thing. It was about eliminating competition.
Yeah.
But the big cable companies, why you don't see multiple cable companies in the same market? They want to eliminate competition.
Exactly. You know? And that's
even,
largely.
I mean, even something like Walmart. Like what the reason I'm anti-Walmart? They come to a market, undercut everybody. Wait until there's no competition, jack up prices. It's the same. It's all the same concept. People just don't care because it's cheaper now.
Yep. And that's a lot of what I see it is that you have a lot of corporatism is pretty bad for capitalist markets in general. Most people like conflate the two. They think that capitalism is corporatism. I'm like, no, not. They're different things. Capitalism is all about competition. And the idea is that having a flat, even playing field where and this is really idealistic, right? This doesn't exist anywhere in the world, but having that flat, even playing field where everybody competes and they succeed based upon what the populace decides is the better idea, right? And they decide with their wallets, right? If I have a better idea than someone else, I make more money. If you guys have a better idea than me, you make more money because more people want what you're selling versus mine. That's capitalism. Corporatism is I understand I understand the markets better, and I'm going to muscle out my competition so that there is no other choice but me. And it's competitive, certainly competitive in the sense that you try to sabotage your competition, but it's not letting the market decide who's better. It's you just being craftier and more wily.
Or if there is competition that you can't get rid of, you fanboyism to guarantee a certain amount of buyers whether your product is better or not.
Yeah.
I'm still going back to PUBG. When you don't like the competition, you sue them. They make up stupid cease and desist over something.
We definitely need to throw a little bit of shade on the PUBG Corp of their bullshit. Here's the funny thing. This is my favorite part of this whole story. You know who owns a percentage of both PUBG Corp and of Epic Games? Tencent.
Yeah.
By the way,
Tencent, well played.
Yeah,
that's the first time that they've done that, though. I can't remember the other example, but they had a similar situation with two different studios that they owned.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, so here's the thing: is that it's a little bit. Something that people should keep in mind. If you don't know who Tencent is, and a lot of people don't, you should. Tencent is the largest gaming company in the world. What do they make? Not a lot of stuff that you would hear about. But they
own a lot of shit.
Yeah, they have shares in every fucking thing. They have their fingers in so many goddamn pies. And like I said, they do make some games directly. They do publish some games more directly, but it's usually mobile games is where I've mostly seen their more direct publishing. But they'll go and they'll spend a little money. I'm pretty certain that they have shares in Digital Extremes. I'm pretty certain that they were the Chinese company that invested in Digital Extremes. So like,
also as you've noticed, even though they have their fingers in all those pies, they don't get they don't get heavily involved in control on a lot of that. That's why you have PUBG suing Fortnite.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they would step in and it's like, you know what, we own you all, you fuckers. Why are you bothering?
And we're gonna have to roll this into final thoughts while we're talking about Tencent. But yeah, in any case though, no, you can tell PUBG is grasping. They're seeing their numbers slip, because they. First of all, you open up to Chinese market. Great, smart idea. You got a lot of fucking players in, like, really quick, and actually that's part of what drove their success. There were some other things before that got them rolling, but opening up to the Chinese market that didn't really have a lot going for it, that's really what drove up PUBG into like the stratosphere, right? And then a lot of the non-Chinese players were like, I fucking hate playing with Chinese players. We need to isolate these into 2 server groups, you know, like where you have the Eurasian server group, right? Or well, not Eurasian, but the Asian server group where they're on their own servers, they're more local, less lag, that sort of thing. And then the North American, maybe European areas on their own servers so that they have a lower latency, a higher quality connection, and it makes it better.
They were mad about the Chinese players. They were mad at the Chinese players for cheating.
Well,
plain and simple.
Now, to be fair, and we talked about this before, that's a little bit of a misnomer. Whenever they were like 99% of all the cheaters in PUBG are Chinese. Yes, but that's because there's so many more Chinese players. Like, yes, they're proportionally, if you have say 1 million Chinese players versus 100,000 US players, right? And 99% of all the cheaters were from China. Well, yes, that technically would be more, possibly more than there are US players, whatever. That doesn't necessarily mean that there are proportionally there's more like proportionally it's not necessarily that there are less percentage-wise cheaters in the US. There are just less players in the US. There's 100,000 versus 1 million number of examples there. But, you know, 1 million Chinese players versus 100,000 US players. Say there's 1,000 cheaters in the US and, you know, 50,000 cheaters in China. Well, yes, then the vast majority of cheaters will be from China. But proportionally, there is a higher amount of cheaters in the US. Like if you isolated the groups.
A long time ago. You know, here's my final thoughts. A bit of an epiphany I had, and this comes to cheating, lying, stealing, anything like that. Mm-hmm. You have a certain amount of people that are going to be like this no matter what situation they're in.
Yep.
A good example of this, U.S. military, they feed you, they clothe you, they house you, and they pay you on top of that. Yeah, it's not the greatest of any of it, but still, they provide all the shit that you need to live, and they pay you on top of that. And there's still people who steal in the military. Mm-hmm. You know, you find that there, you're going to find it everywhere.
Yep.
Steal what and why?
Just stupid shit.
Yep.
You know, it can be anything from like somebody's socks to, you know, something actually more important like that. It doesn't matter. Like there's people who are going to steal whether they, you know, need it or not. And they're not necessarily full-blown kleptos. They just like, you know, either, you know, they had some influence on their life where stealing was helpful for them to survive, and then they get thrown into a condition where they don't need it, but they still can't help it, or they're just fucked in the head in general. You know, it doesn't matter. But, you know, any aspect you go into life, it doesn't matter what situation you throw onto people. If they've either been conditioned or have this kind of problem to begin with, they're going to exist anywhere. You know, like I said, you know, the cheaters, thieves, you know, all that stuff. It doesn't matter where you go; they will exist somewhere.
Fair enough.
Kev, final thoughts.
Praise Gaben.
Oh, we forgot to talk about the security hole with Steam.
Oh, we did. Oh, we'll roll that into another episode because we always take the opportunity to shit on Valve.
Well, so just to be clear on there, they've already got a patch rolling, so.
But it was there for a decade.
Yeah, well, yeah. So they really quick 30-second summary of what the issue was. There was a security hole in Steam that would allow a malicious person to potentially take remote control of your PC. No one was ever actually exploited this way. It was just an exploit that existed. Actually, a while back, whenever Steam recompiled, or Valve recompiled Steam to eliminate a lot of exploits, there were still a few left. They were notified about it from a security agency, or not a security agency, but a security firm, and then they promptly patched it. That's the story in 30 seconds.
In like what, 6 hours?
Huh?
At least on beta, they patched it fast.
Oh yeah, it was super fast.
They patched within like 6 hours, I think.
So you mean they didn't have to go through and pay the $30,000 and wait a week like they do on PS4?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's not get started. There's a reason why a lot of games that are cross-platform, usually put out the PC version first and then patch it on consoles because they want to see what breaks on the PC version, and then they can fix it and patch it and stuff like that, and then they have to wait for it to go to cert on console, which takes time. Sony or whatever, they have to approve it. So much overhead on consoles.
I do like the certification process on consoles. I wish we had a little more of that kind of quality control on PC. Maybe then we wouldn't get as many asset flips, hopefully. But at the same time, I get why it's a hassle. I get why it's a pain in the ass. So, I don't know. I'm torn. I wish Steam had more quality control.
Yeah.
Okay. But my final thought, besides praise gaming, glad that graphics card prices are coming back to normal. That is awesome and amazing. I hear the 11 series is due out in August, which I'm excited about, which means hopefully I can find me a cheap 1080, maybe go SLI. That would be fun.
That would be
also, I saw this tweet that I want to share. Mass Effect 2 on PC looks better than any current gen game on the Xbox One X that's exclusive. I saw that tweet. I loved it. Though it is a little tongue-in-cheek, though, because Xbox has no exclusives. Xbox has no games.
Oh.
There are a bunch of PC games.
Kev throwing out all the shade.
That's
all I know is when I started talking to people, I knew the console war existed, but didn't know how bad it was until I got on PC. And seeing people say like, "Oh, PC is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. Nobody fucks with PC. PC has no games." Now Xbox literally has no games because all those games are on PC. There's literally no reason for an Xbox player or PC player to buy an Xbox. Well, there's tons of reasons for an Xbox player to buy a PC. I'm just
gonna go back to my whole thing, reiterating my whole thing that Xbox should be made into a distribution platform instead of a hardware spec, and then they essentially have their console PC, quote unquote, if you will. Don't phrase it as that, but they can call it a console. But they're
that's basically what it is now.
Yeah, but essentially it's a PC.
UWP is basically that.
Yeah, they just haven't quite got it. It's a step. It's getting there. They haven't quite got it there yet.
And it's gonna end up like the Alpha or the Steam machines, where people look at it like another console. Well, what exclusives does it have? Oh, it doesn't have any exclusives I want to play. I'm gonna keep playing my PS4.
What exclusives does it have? Fucking thousands of PC exclusive games. That is a fucking lie. How many games?
No. I wasn't saying. I was saying specifically the Alpha, specifically the Steam machine. That's how these people think. It's like, oh, why should I buy this console? What exclusives does it have? Oh, it doesn't have anything I want to play. I'm gonna go back to my third-person action game with stealth elements.
You've been watching Top Hats and Champagne, haven't you?
No, actually, we were sitting on this game on Twitter before the podcast. When you were inviting Fame on, I was in another conversation where we were having this debate with this dude who was asking about, well, what games are on PC? Or what AAA exclusives are on PC? And we're like, okay, one, define AAA. Two, define exclusive. Because there's a bunch of games that are exclusive on Xbox. When you hear the fanboys talk about it, they say all the time, Xbox has exclusives. There's a bunch of PC games. I play them on my PC.
Top Hats, just all he says about PlayStation is every game on PlayStation, like exclusive to PlayStation, is a third-person action game with stealth elements.
Oh yeah, it's become a meme at this point.
Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, my final thoughts on there is I just have to say it one more time, just because I want this to become like a theme of I've got you in my vats. Why did they pick 76? Because they could have picked any fucking name, any vault number aside from 111 or any of the previous used ones.
The vaults are all already laid out in Fallout lore. It's a lore reason why it's 76.
Yeah. They could have done vault 1.
Yeah, it's lore specific. And like it's always been known in the lore. It's a control vault, so you're actually playing as someone from Vault Tech.
Yeah, you know, it's not a vault where they're experimenting on people. Although,
Right.
what if maybe they are? I mean, Vault Tech would not be above experimenting on their own people. In fact, I'm pretty certain I've seen a vault where they did that.
I've never seen that vault, but I wouldn't be surprised.
They kind of blur together. In any case, though, I'm gonna be making Soldier 76 jokes from here until the game crashes and burns.
Well, what if the game is good?
It's not whether it's.
I will
good
be
or
making Soldier 76 jokes from now until the game crashes and burns.
But what if? So you're gonna make it even if the game. So you're gonna make bad jokes about it even if the game is good.
Hey, Kev, you're forgetting about you know, the unofficial patch in Creation Club.
Oh yeah. I'm totally forgetting about that.
Well,
I'm trying to give the game a chance to be good.
It may be.
If it's dog shit, I'll be right here with you throwing rocks. Man, I'll bring everybody slingshots if the game is bad.
The game may
But I
be,
want to give it a chance
but
to
it's
be
going to
good.
need help to be good.
There is no more help.
Exactly.
Get good, scrubs.
Anyway, on the final thoughts there, yeah, we'll be back in a couple weeks. If all goes well, we may have a guest on in a couple of weeks. As Kev was mentioning, we were discussing with another person around the scene who is a little bit more console centric. Might stop on the show, in which case then we'll continue to, of course, make Fallout 76 jokes. And then we'll also make jokes about all the third-person action games with stealth elements.
Well, he is an Xbox guy.
Oh, that's
so
right.
That's
right. He's an
gets
Xbox
shooters.
guys.
So he gets shooters.
It's all shooters. But
It's
in any
Gears,
case,
Gears, Halo, and Forza. That's all you
in
get.
any case, we'll be back in a week. Obviously, play more Ghost Recon Wildlands.
I won't be.
that's why.
I'm not reinstalling that shit.
That's the reason why we gotta play Wildlands, because Kev won't touch it. Well, we can also play Warframe and Kev won't touch it.
Nope, not touching that either.
Yeah.
You get State of Decay. We'll all play State of Decay.
How about you guys get Vermintide 2 and we can play Vermintide 2?
Frontier Defense, but there's only 2 of us that have Titanfall.
I have both of them. So.
I noticed that there's like the 66% thing. 2 of us have a bunch of games. Like mix and match. 2 of us will have a game and 1 person won't have that game. And it's
the
like,
other person won't buy. And I'm the only one that's willing to try to go out and buy the other game when it goes on sale. Like I'll spend the $10-$20.
That's why I bought.
These 2 will not.
I go out and buy these games. I bought Vermintide 2 because of the co-op potential on there. There's a few other games I bought just
No. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, okay, so 66% of us have a game. So it'll be like, okay, for example, me and Morgan have a game. Xaiphen's not gonna buy that game off that strength. The 2 of you will have a game. Like Wildlands. I bought Wildlands and they said it was dog shit. Yeah, I wasted $20, but I at least tried.
Well, yeah, and at least you get it on sale too.
Yeah, I wait until they go on sale and then I'll do it.
I told you overall between co-op and single player that it was worth the 20. Not just the co-op factor.
Yeah.
The
And that's what I was saying, is that it is worth $20. Not anymore.
Yeah, at best.
No, like $60? Hell no. I didn't pay a dime for Wildlands. I did not pay.
I remember
for
that
it.
you got it with your 1080 because I was mad because I wanted For Honor with my 1080 and they wouldn't acknowledge.
Here's the funny thing about it is that I would not have you could not pay me to play For Honor. Like you could say, here's $60, play For Honor, and I'd be like, no, I'll pass.
Oh, see, I like For Honor.
I love the idea of For Honor. I hated the fucking game with a passion.
I
See, you
paid
enjoyed it when I was whooping your ass in it.
For Honor and it failed.
I don't remember you ever actually beating me at that game once, Kev. You weren't good enough. However, there was another guy who was around in the Pixel Crashes for a while. I think he wandered off to other ventures that he was fucking crazy good. But he and I befriended each other because we were like one-on-one each other, and I actually sort of kind of kept up with him once or twice. And then he was like, "You're pretty good. Now I'm actually gonna start trying." And I'm like, "Oh, fuck you."
And this is where we go. Hit the archive.
Was it Mr. Waffles or something? I think was his name. That was fun stuff. That was when I was streaming that while I was in the beta or whatever. But point is that I from the start said that the fact that it was peer to peer, it was garbage.
It has dedicated servers now.
Yeah, I know, but
Doesn't matter.
Nobody playing the fucking game, so it doesn't really help.
I haven't had any issues finding matches. Even on Steam, I think there's like a few thousand.
Okay. I'm still not really interested in playing it. But yeah, so in any case, you know, have fun, everybody. We'll be back in a couple weeks. Hopefully.
Where's Yoshida?
Oh, no. Sorry. We'll be back in a week to play some game that we'll have to figure out which game that is. Because apparently we'll have to do paper, scissors, rock to determine which game that Kev doesn't like that we'll play.
Okay.
Well, you're just going to end up playing Mass Effect again, and you know it.
As long as it's not Andromeda, because I won't touch that.
Oh, it will be Andromeda.
That game can go fuck itself. You guys think I don't know.
Drama at this point. It's been uninstalled for months.
Yeah.
I still play it.
I don't.
I'm sorry.
I still play it. I actually enjoy it. I still really love the game. My only beef is that it is so hard to find gold matches. Somebody on Facebook tried to lie to me and say that it's easy to find matches on gold on PC. I'll be sitting here waiting for like 10-15 minutes on a Saturday afternoon looking for damn matches on Andromeda in gold.
Find that easier on
bronze and silver is instant.
Well,
I think all those people went to platinum, and I'm not playing platinum.
While we ramble about this, we're gonna sign off of the podcast-ish sort of, and then Kev will keep rambling into the mic, and I'm not going to shut it off until he stops rambling. So that's the great part.
Praise Yoshida and Spencer.
Have a great camera, guys. Have a great Saturday. Kev is
Nintendo
still
Master Race.
Say goodbye to Xaiphen and Kev, Console Peasant N7.
You only hate me because of my glory.
We're done. Anyway, so continuing on about the whole game discussion deal. So I would like to point out that we also have Dragon Age Inquisition multiplayer. I can't remember. Kev, do you have that one? Or Xaiphen, do you have that one?
I have it, sort of. I have it as much as I have Titanfall 2. I have not paid for it. I still have I have Origins access.
I see. So does that mean you can actually play it?
Yeah, I need to actually spend some time configuring a Steam control layout for it, and getting a feel for the game.
It's pretty straightforward because it does have native Xbox controller support, and that actually works well.
Good head start. There's a lot less I have to fuck with in that case.
Yeah, like I actually
the horrible things I see on the internet. I
actually prefer the Xbox controller for Inquisition because I've always been of the opinion that the mouse keyboard controls for Inquisition are garbage. That's one of my major.
I used to play in third-person melee games with mouse and keyboard. This doesn't feel good to me. Most third-person games to me don't feel very good with mouse and keyboard.
Oh, third-person games? Yeah,
I prefer most third. I prefer my games in third person, even though most of the third person games feel better on a controller for me.
You mean third person action games with stealth elements?
No, I don't like stealth games. No. Dishonored was okay.
I'm just saying, guys. If you guys want to play some third person action games with stealth elements, I'm sure that we can get some PS4s around.
But are you going to pay for the online? Yeah, see?
Kev, you're fucking sweet.
No,
go fuck yourself.
What?
What you see versus what she see.
Oh no. Actually, you see this one I see on Facebook right now. 80s babies didn't start giving head till they was 20 or 20 something or in love. 90s babies offer head to strangers online.
I should probably at this point stop streaming because it just goes off the realm of.
Anyway, I thought we were offline.
Oh no, we like to have everybody listen to Kev what we really like.
I mean, we talk about like head tweets and head memes. Like the old girl from Game of Thrones on it. Well, she looks old girl from Game of Thrones. I can't tell. On her knees, looks like she's sucking dick. With Matt Hardy sitting there. Delete.
To shreds, you say.
To shreds. What about her wife?
To shreds, you say.
That's what she's doing. She's sucking all the shreds.
That series is just awesome.
I think we've derailed quite into oblivion quite enough. I can finally stop the stream.
Yeah.
I think that's the point of the afterthoughts, is just